Obviously upsetting for the family, upsetting for Miguel, and for yourself, the verdict.
This verdict was completely shocking. In my view, it is what I would call a textbook miscarriage of justice. It was an unreasonable verdict, in my view. There was independent evidence, independent civilian witness who saw another person commit this murder. A completely independent witness. There were many people at this party who had a bird's eye view of what happened, and not a single one of them had the accused person, Mr. Miguel-Chacon Perez, who has no criminal record, never been arrested before. He was nowhere near the deceased at any time. This verdict is, in my view, an unreasonable one, and it's a miscarriage of justice, and we're very, very disappointed.
Now, you mentioned in there about an appeal.
Oh, Mr. Chacon Perez will, of course, be appealing his conviction to the Court of Appeal for Ontario. Yes.
And what are you hoping for on Friday, Richard?
Well, I'm just hoping to get it concluded, and so that we can move on to the next step, which is the Court of Appeal.
Now, he's in custody now. What are you hoping? What happens Friday? Is there a chance, or what's the statute say? What happens that way? I mean, what's the case? You mentioned you made an effort to have him re-released on bail, but
the criminal code doesn't allow for him to be released at this time. An application for bail will have to be made in the Court of Appeal, and that will be done within the next few weeks.
Okay. And Richard, the one reaction from the juror, what's your take on that?
I'm not sure. I was obviously very, very taken aback by the verdict and very saddened by it for my client, who I firmly believe is an innocent man.
And don't tell us anything you don't want to, Richard, but tell us, I mean, what's going through Miguel's mind? What you chatted with him? How does he feel?
You know, Miguel is someone who has, in my view, been wrongly convicted, and he stands among, unfortunately, other men and women who have been wrongly convicted by juries, and it's very unfortunate.
You really deeply believe that, don't you, that he is not innocent, or he is innocent, right?
I have absolutely no doubt.
Why is that? Just a heartfelt, the evidence?
No, the evidence was overwhelmingly indicative of his innocence. Overwhelmingly, not a single civilian witness saw him near the deceased. Not one person. But there was cogent, clear, and abundant evidence that the deceased was in combat with Mr. Aparicio Chicas, a convicted rapist, has a long history of extreme violence, and he was seen in combat with the deceased at the time he went to the ground. It was an overwhelming case for an acquittal. This jury, unfortunately, made an egregious error.